you can tell, I disappeared from this channel for well over a year. It's not because I had some kind of dramatic scandal, nothing like that going on in the background. I wasn't canceled or shadow banned by YouTube. There's no emotional YouTube apology that I owe to the world. I don't have any sad piano music that'll need to be played in the background. Nothing me staring off in the distance like I just disappointed the entire nation. No, it was nothing like that. I just stopped showing up. And honestly, that makes this the perfect place to restart, because this channel is for men who are tired of their own excuses, including me. And that's why I took a year off. You see, my name is Ken, and this is a channel for men who know they are capable of more. But somewhere along the way, somewhere along your journey, you got stuck. And maybe you got a little overweight, or maybe you've lost your confidence, or maybe you feel like dating's become impossible, or maybe you're lonely as hell, but you don't know what to say without feeling weak. Maybe you're battling an addiction, or depression, or anxiety, or shame. The list can go on and on and on. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's money problems, maybe it's a failed relationship, a body that you don't respect anymore because you don't like the way you look, a life you didn't exactly plan on waking up inside of, but yet here you are today. Or maybe you're just tired. Not the I'm sleepy, didn't get enough sleep tired, that soul-sucking tired, the kind of tired where you're functioning, but you know damn good and well that you're not living, at least the life that you want to be. And if that sounds familiar, my friends, well then this channel is gonna be for you. This is Diaries of Masculine Men. And before anyone gets all weird about that word masculine, that is such a trigger word these days, let's be clear about what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about fake masculinity. I'm not talking about being loud or angry or emotionally constipated or walking around like one minor inconvenience is gonna make you punch a hole in the wall. That's not masculinity, my friends, okay? What that is that's toxicity. That's a grown man that has some issues that they haven't resolved. Now to me, masculinity starts with responsibility. It's about discipline. It's about emotional control. It's about being dependable, about learning how to suffer without making everybody else pay for it in the process. It's about telling the truth, especially when you're talking about yourself. It's about becoming useful. Okay? It's about becoming strong, not just physically strong, but mentally strong as well. Spiritually grounded, emotionally mature, financially responsible, relationally honest, and dangerous only to the parts of yourself that are trying to destroy you. That's the kind of masculinity I want to talk about. Not the cartoon version, not the podcast bro version, not the I rented a Lamborghini and I'm sitting in a parking lot version pretending to be something I'm not. I mean the kind of masculinity that makes a man better. Better for his family, better for his woman, better for his children, better for his friends, better for his community, and better when he is all alone by himself. Because that's the real test in life. Who are you when no one else is watching? Who are you when there's no one to applaud your efforts? And when life gets heavy and no one's coming to rescue you, who are you? That's where a man finds out what he's really made of. It's in those rare reflective moments when it's just you and you. So who are you? Let me just put this out early. I'm not here as some internet guru. I'm not here to pretend that I have life completely figured out. I'm not gonna sit here and act as if though I've locked the secret code to manhood because I read 3 books and attended some seminar, or I took a cold plunge and started saying optimize way too much. I'm an expert in one thing, my own life, my own failures, my own recovery, my own transformation, my own mistakes, and the lessons that I had to learn the hard way. And sometimes the hard way is a very generous description, because sometimes life does not teach you gently. Sometimes life grabs you by the back of your neck and it drags you to the mirror and it says, look at what you've become. And that's a brutal moment, because there are few things more painful than realizing that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the sole contributor to the chaos that you have invited into your life. Now, that doesn't mean everything was your fault. It doesn't mean your pain that you've experienced isn't real. It doesn't mean that your trauma didn't happen. It doesn't mean the injury to your body didn't change you or have a life-altering effect. It doesn't mean that your depression isn't heavy, that it's not hard to carry. It doesn't mean whatever addiction you have isn't powerful and hard to get over. It doesn't mean that life didn't hit you unfairly, square between the eyes. But at some point, if you want to change your life, you have got to stop asking, who can I blame? And start asking, what am I gonna do now? That question is what changed my life. Not immediately, not magically, but slowly. One honest answer at a time. Because what had happened was I became someone that I no longer recognized. I've been the disciplined type of guy for the majority of my life. I was the super fit guy that everybody wished that they could be. I've been a lot of things in my life over the times. I've been the military guy with all the medals and awards. I've been the man that other people looked at and assumed that I always had it all together. But I've also been the man who was falling apart behind the scenes. I've battled depression. I've battled anxiety. I've battled addiction. I've had moments where I genuinely did not want to be here for one more second. And I don't say that for any shock value or sympathy. I say that because somebody who's watching this might be sitting in that same dark place right now. And you're thinking that you're the only one in this world who's going through this shit. But guess what? You're not. And I know what it feels like to be ashamed of yourself. I know what it feels like to wake up and wonder how your life got so far away from who you thought you would be that you don't know how you became who you were. And I know what it feels like to look in the mirror and see someone you can't stand. And that is the hardest thing to admit, especially for us men, because men will tell you everything's good while the entire aspect of our life is held together by a lie, by avoidance, through sarcasm, and one bad coping skill after another. But guess what? Privately, you know when your life is shit. You know. And you know when you're not living right. You know when your relationship is falling apart. You know when you're drinking too much. You know when your anger is out of control. You know when you're using humor to avoid honesty. And you know when you've made comfort your default setting and then wondered why your life feels so freaking empty. That was me. I got comfortable. I gained 60 pounds. I lost all my confidence. I lost all my momentum. I lost parts of myself that I used to be so proud of. And after these life-altering injuries and the limitations that forever changed what I could physically do, I had to face a version of myself that I never expected I would become. That season humbled me. And when I say humbled, I don't mean the cute kind of humbled where you post a black and white selfie and write some clever thing like God is working on me. I mean the ugliest kind of humbling you could imagine. The kind where you're all alone with the consequences of your choices. The kind where nobody can fix it for you. The kind where you realize your imagination and your reality are no longer on speaking terms because they don't align. You are now delusional. The kind of humility that can either destroy you or help to rebuild you. The only difference between the two is what you're gonna do with them. You can't control everything that happens in your life, but what you can control is how you choose to respond. Like I said, you can't choose what happens in life, but you can choose how you respond. But you see, I've got pictures from that season of my life. I've got the before pictures and I've got the after pictures. I've got pictures of me overweight, out of shape. I've got pictures of me passed out after heavy drinking. Videos of me that I'm so high, I don't remember the damn pictures being taken or the videos being made. Raw, embarrassing, and ugly reminders of how bad things got. And I hate watching those videos. Not because they're fake, but because they're real. They show a man that I almost stayed for the rest of my life. I almost gave up and just stayed in that terrible place in life. And I'm real careful about what I share because this isn't about glorifying my addiction. It's not about turning my lowest moments into some kind of entertainment, hoping that it'll go viral. And I'm not here to give every ugly detail of every bad decision I ever made because some parts of my story are not for shock value. Some parts are not gonna be for the internet. Some parts are between me, God, and the people who were close enough to watch this shit unfold. But I will tell you something. I'll tell you this. Rock bottom, that's a real place. Shame is a real thing. Self-destruction is very real. And so is the comeback. I lost the 60 pounds that I put on. I rebuilt my body. I put on lean muscle again. I became a stronger, better version of myself. I became more disciplined. I became more emotionally intelligent. I learned how to control my emotions instead of letting every little feeling grab the steering wheel and drive me off course. And by 40, I was in far better shape than I was at 20. But here's what people miss that you don't see on Instagram reels or stories. The body was not the miracle. Having the six-pack wasn't the greatest thing. The body instead was the evidence, but the real transformation happened before anyone could physically see it. It happened in private. When I started keeping small promises to myself, when I stopped negotiating with weakness, when I stopped waiting to feel motivated before I did something, when I accepted that consistency compounds daily, good or bad. That's one of the most important lessons I've ever learned, and I hope that I can instill on you. Your habits are always going to have a compounding effect. Your discipline will compound, your poor choices will compound, your laziness will compound, your fitness compounds, your debt compounds, your resentment compounds, your excuses compound, your faith compounds, your healing compounds. Nothing in your life is standing still ever. You are either building yourself up or you are slowly breaking yourself down, and that is your choice. And almost all men know exactly which one they're doing right now. But the hard part is Can you be honest and real enough with yourself to go look in the mirror and have that difficult one-on-one and say to yourself, what am I doing to absolutely ensure that my life is fucked up? What role am I playing to ensure that I am destined to fail? Because all too often, we don't want to ask those questions because we might be afraid of the answer, or the fact is we might be so damn delusional that we somehow think that we have no control over life and that it's everybody else's fault. But the minute you stop thinking that you've got control over your life is the minute that you're playing the victim role, and it's the minute you've robbed yourself of any opportunity to ever change. Because a man who feels like he's lost all control, guess what? He has no control over himself, over his circumstances, and if he doesn't think that anything he does has some kind of effect in his life, he'll do nothing. He will sit there and rot away, and all along, the whole world, except for that person, knows they are the common denominator in why their life sucks, and it is them. And that's a hard piece to swallow. So I hope you don't choke on it, and I hope you can appreciate I'm just trying to help. So go get in front of that mirror and ask yourself this simple question. What am I doing this minute to ensure that my life continues to suck? And what can I do right now that if I continue doing it every day will have a compounding like effect that 1 year from now, everything will be different? You see, people underestimate what they can do in 1 year, and they overestimate what they can do in a decade. We want change now. We want it all to happen yesterday, but it takes time. But small, gradual, consistent things will compound into huge life-altering things, but you gotta stick with it. So this is the perfect place for you to start. Tune in because we are going to apply these real life things. I'll use my life as an example to show you the compounding like effects that can happen with small, consistent choices. And that's what this channel is for. It's for the overweight man who has zero motivation and secretly hates how he feels in his own body. Not because he's vain, but because he knows deep down that he's capable of something better. It's for the 24-year-old guy who's awkward with women, who wants love so desperately, but has no idea how to communicate without trying too hard or without pretending that he doesn't care at all. It's for the veteran who came home after serving his country, but some part of him is still left somewhere else. The man who can handle absolute chaos, but somehow he struggles with the simplicity of peace. The man who knows how to survive under pressure, but doesn't know how to be normal in the grocery store on a Sunday afternoon, or at the dinner table with his family, or in a relationship with someone who just wants him to be present. It's for the man who's battling addiction, the man fighting depression, the man battling anxiety, the man who looks functional on the outside, but on the inside, he is tired of carrying on a war that no one else can see. And it's for the average man as well. The man who isn't in any crisis, but knows he's underperforming in his life. He's surviving, but he is not thriving. He's falling apart slowly, and he's not becoming anything better at the same time. And that might be its own kind of hell, because there is a quiet pain in knowing that you are capable of so much more, and yet you're still watching yourself settle for less. So let me ask you something, my friend, and don't answer it out loud unless you want to make someone else around you uncomfortable. But I need you to answer it honestly. Where are you lying to yourself? Is it about your health? Is it about your relationships? Is it about your drinking? What is it about? Your money, your faith, your anger, your laziness, your loneliness, your lack of discipline, your fear of rejection, your addiction to being comfortable, and your avoidance of pain? What part of your life have you been explaining away for so long that the excuses now sound like the truth? That's the questions that actually matter. Those are the questions that will make the difference, because you cannot fix a life that you refuse to tell the truth about. You got to have that honest conversation with yourself, and it's best to start right now, right here, with us having a conversation. What truth do you need to hear, my friend? And during this adventure, there was one thing that helped me through it all, and that's faith. Faith helped me during my comeback. Faith has been a major part of my journey, but I want to say this very carefully. This is not going to be a channel where I pretend to be some polished, perfect Christian man who never curses, who never fails, who never sins, who never gets angry, never has any dark thoughts, and never needs grace or forgiveness. That guy sounds absolutely exhausting. And honestly, I wouldn't trust anybody like that to begin with. I identify as a Christian because I know how much grace I have needed in my journey. Faith mattered in my life because there were times I had to believe I wasn't beyond saving, that there was hope for me. I had to believe that my worst chapter was not my final identity. It was a stepping stone onward to something better. I had to believe God could still use me despite all my failures, despite failure, after shame, after even addiction, even after all my self-destruction, even after I had disappointed myself so badly, I didn't even know how to look in the mirror without being completely disgusted. And so maybe somebody watching this video right now needs to hear that. Needs to hear that you are not beyond saving. You are not beyond rebuilding. You are not beyond forgiveness. But hear me clearly, dear friend. Forgiveness does not mean you get to stay the same. Grace is not a permission slip to keep destroying yourself, to keep making the same poor choices. At some point, you have to get up. And you've got to participate in your own rescue mission. You have to stop treating God like he's a tow truck that you only call after you drive your life into a ditch and you need someone to bail you out. Faith is not passive. Faith without works is dead. Faith is not sitting around waiting for God to do the push-ups for you. Faith is trust. Faith is surrender. Faith is obedience. Faith is telling the truth. Faith is getting back up when shame tells you to lay the hell down. And sometimes faith, it sounds like a prayer. And sometimes it sounds like an apology. And sometimes it sounds like flushing that bottle of booze down the toilet. And sometimes it sounds like deleting that number you shouldn't have. Sometimes it sounds like going to the gym when you don't want to. Sometimes it sounds like calling another man and saying, "Hey, brother, I'm not okay. I need some help." That is not a sign of weakness. That is the beginning of developing true strength. When you can admit that, hey man, I'm okay not being okay. But in not being okay, I need some help. So will you help me? So yeah, you're here and you're asking for help. And we're going to talk about real life. So here's what this channel is going to be about. Every week, I'm going to post a video for men who want to rebuild their lives. Most episodes will be under 20 minutes that you can spare, probably around 8 to 12. Just long enough to share something real. So you're not going to need to pack a lunch. You're not going to need to take half a day off from work. You don't need to notify your family that you're going to be offline for hours. It's nothing like that. We're going to talk about discipline, fitness, dating, relationships, communication, money, confidence, faith, mental health, addiction, purpose, veterans, brotherhood, emotional control, forgiveness, and the uncomfortable truth that your life probably will never change until you decide to change. And I'm not gonna talk to you like you're someone stupid. I'm not gonna talk to you like I'm better than you. And I'm not gonna package common sense like it's some revolutionary life hack that I'm the only one that figured out. You don't need a $997 course to learn that eating like a pig at the midnight might affect your confidence and your waist size. You need the truth. You need structure. You need accountability. You need a little direction. You need some faith. You need better habits. You need better questions to ask yourself. And you need to stop confusing comfort with peace. Because comfort and peace are not the same thing. Comfort says, stay where you are. It's easy. And peace says, live in alignment with what is right. And those are very different lives, my friends. This channel is gonna challenge you, but it's also gonna encourage you because I'm not interested in just yelling at men. There's already enough of that shit online. Half the internet sounds like a divorced drill sergeant selling pre-workouts to a bunch of beta men. That's not what this is about. That's not what this channel is. This is not a performance of fake masculinity. It's not about fake toughness. This isn't about rage bait for insecure men. This is about becoming a whole person, about learning how to become disciplined, about becoming useful, about becoming honest, becoming strong enough to be gentle and gentle enough to still be dangerous when it truly matters. That's the kind of man I want to become. And that's the kind of conversation that I want to build here. That's the community that we will develop. One person helping another person become a stronger version of the person that they already will. And the thing is that we don't have to do it alone. We can do it as a group. So there you have it. The goal of this channel is not to make you feel bad about where you are in life. Most men already feel bad enough. They just don't say it. They hide it behind their work, or the alcohol, or sarcasm, or anger, or porn, or food, or dating apps, or buying things that they don't freaking need, or pretending they're just chilling when the reality is they're slowly checking out of their own lives. The goal here is not shame. The goal here is ownership. Because ownership gives you your power back. If you are overweight right now, you are not stuck there. If you're lonely right now, it doesn't have to be that way forever. If you are broke right now, you can become complete again. You don't have to stay there. If you are addicted right now, you're not gonna be addicted forever. You're not stuck there forever. And if you're depressed right now, guess what? You don't have to be stuck there either. And if you're embarrassed by who you've become, you're not stuck there, and you're certainly not alone. Your current condition is not your final identity, but you have to stop protecting the version of you that is actually ruining your life. That version of you might be someone familiar, and it might feel comfortable. It might have excuses that sound somewhat reasonable or intelligent, and there may be some trauma explanations. It may have personally reasonable reasons why today may not be the right day to start, but at some point, somewhere here in this journey, you've got to ask yourself, how much longer am I going to keep negotiating with a man, the one who got me where I am, the man who got me where I'm at and I don't want to be? That question right there is what changed me, because I realized the weakest version of myself had been making way too many decisions in my life. He had decided when I would work out. He started deciding what I would eat. He decided what I would avoid. He decided what I would drink. He decided what I would tolerate. He decided how honest I could be and would be. And then he had the nerve to wonder why my life felt so freaking out of control. Well, because I gave up all the control. You cannot let the weakest version of yourself keep driving the car. And then complain about the destination, about where you wound up. At some point, the stronger man, the better version of you, has to take back control. Not tomorrow, not on Monday, not after the holidays, not after life calms down and gets easier, because life may never calm down, and it sure in the hell may never get easier. You have to become the calm right now. You have to become the structure to the chaos in your life. You have to become the standard you want to abide by. You are the common factor. Everything we're here moving forward starts with you. So if you're a man who's tired of surviving, if you're tired of pretending you're fine when you're not, if you're tired of starting over every single Monday, if you're tired of your own excuses, and if there is still some part of you that believes that you were made for more, subscribe to this channel. Not because I need another number on a screen to make me feel better. No, subscribe because we're gonna build something here. A place for men who want to tell the truth. A place for men who want to rebuild their life. A place for men who still believe that discipline matters, that faith, brotherhood matters, that their health matters, that communication matters, that their character matters, and becoming a better man still matters. And I want you to comment below with one word or give me a sentence, a whole paragraph. What are you fighting right now, my friend? I want to know. Is it your weight? Is it your dating situation? Is it your level of confidence? Is it some addiction you're battling or the depression? Is it a battle of faith? Is it one of money, one of discipline, one of loneliness, one of anger? Is it about shame? Is it about finding purpose? Put it in the comments. I'm going to build all of our future videos around the real battles that you men are actually facing. Not because I want to hear myself talk, because I don't want this channel just to be about me talking to men. Again, my name is Ken. This is Diaries of Masculine Men. And this is a channel that's for men who are done making excuses and they're now ready to rebuild their life and become something so much more. So I'm here to tell you, welcome back. Or perhaps, maybe for some of you, welcome to day one of that new path in life that you're gonna take. Remember, the hardest part of any journey is that first step. So just start stepping. I'll see you next week.